All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a highly anticipated device that's generating a ton of excitement and honestly, some deep nostalgia. The Sony Xperia 1 Mark VIII. You know, when a legacy brand like Sony drops a new high-end smartphone, the entire tech world kinda just pauses to take notice. They've always played by their own rules, right? Marching to the beat of their own drum when it comes to design and functionality. So, we're unpacking a comprehensive source review of this really fascinating device to figure out exactly what it brings to the table, and more importantly, who it's actually built for.
And this brings up a super fascinating question. Sony's newest phone brings back the headphone jack and ditches the screen notch entirely. But does rejecting modern industry trends to give us features we thought were long gone actually translate to a premium daily experience? Because, look, it's one thing to be different. It's entirely another to be effectively different. Does rejecting the status quo result in a better smartphone or just a quirky one?
So, here's our roadmap for today. 1. Unboxing and first impressions. 2. Unique and nostalgic design. 3. Powerhouse flagship specifications. 4. The camera hardware breakdown. 5. Software and processing struggles. And finally, 6. Is it worth the price? Okay, Section 1, Unboxing and first impressions. Let's start right at the beginning. The unboxing experience is ultra minimalist and eco-friendly, but man, as you open it, you'll immediately notice it's extremely bare bones. There isn't even a SIM tool included. Now, for a device commanding a premium flagship price, having to hunt around your house for a paperclip might feel a bit jarring at first. But actually, scratch that, as the reviewer notes, there's a very specific, incredibly practical reason for this omission that we'll get to in just a second. The whole experience just sets this no-nonsense, strictly functional tone. Moving right along to Section 2, Unique and Nostalgic Design. Let's see how this approach translates into the physical build. Modern standard design usually means displays interrupted by notches or punch holes wrapped in slick, slippery glass backs, while Sony dodges that completely. They give us a beautifully clean 6.5-inch Gorilla Glass Victus 2 display. No interruptions, just pure screen, framed by classic top and bottom bezels. And those bezels, they aren't just for show. They house actual front-firing speakers blasting audio straight at you. Plus, rather than a slippery finish, Sony went with a rough textured glass back that feels incredibly secure in your hand. So, you're getting this undeniably solid, grippy industrial build packed with rare, fan-favorite features. Remember that missing SIM tool we just talked about? Well, it's missing because Sony gives you a tool-free SIM tray. You just pull it out with your fingernail. Literally brilliant. You're also getting a dedicated 2-stage camera shutter button on a sandblasted aluminum frame. You half press to focus, full press to shoot, just like a real digital camera. They've integrated the fingerprint scanner right into the side power button. And yes, no way, a high-res 3.5mm headphone jack is right there on the top edge. These are tactile, physical elements that almost no other flagship offers today. Now for Section 3, Powerhouse flagship specifications. Let's crack it open and see if it has the engine to compete. Under the hood, this phone is an absolute beast. It's running on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 architecture, and Sony definitely isn't cutting corners with memory either. The base model kicks off with a very healthy 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. But if you're a serious power user, you can scale that all the way up to an astonishing 16 gigs of RAM paired with a massive 1 terabyte of storage. That's enough space so you practically never have to delete a 4K video. In terms of pure silicon muscle, it's equipped for absolutely anything. But, and there's always a but, right? Despite packing a massive 5,000 milliamp hour battery equipped with 15-watt wireless and even reverse charging capabilities, there is a distinct bottleneck. The wired charging speed caps out at a shockingly low 30 watts. I mean, in a world where competitors are pushing 60, 80, or well over 100 watts of charging speed, 30 watts just feels distinctly last generation. In the real world, you're going to be waiting significantly longer, tethered to a wall, to juice up that huge battery. So with all those specs laid out, it begs the ultimate question about Sony's historic specialty. Does the camera software actually match the impressive hardware? Let's look at Section 4, the camera hardware breakdown. The sheer capability of this rear setup is wild. We're talking 3 distinct 48-megapixel lenses. The 24mm primary lens rocks optical image stabilization to prevent shake and that highly coveted Zeiss T-Star coating to stop annoying glare. You also get a 16mm ultra-wide with an f2 aperture that actually includes autofocus, something so many brands just skip entirely. And finally, a periscope lens that uses folded glass for a true 2.9 times optical zoom also fully stabilized. Crucially, all three of these lenses can shoot stunning 4K video at 120 frames per second. Combined with Sony's Pro camera mode, the physical glass is undeniably elite. But here we are at Section 5, Software and Processing Struggles. This is where the expectation versus reality arc takes a pretty frustrating turn. The phone runs a completely clean, bloatware-free UI based on Android 16. Aside from a couple of pre-installed apps like LinkedIn, it's a totally blank canvas. Now, for purists, that sounds amazing. But when you zoom out and look at the wider smartphone market, competitors are offering rich, dynamic ecosystems bursting with deeply integrated AI features. Sony's UI, by comparison, feels almost too bare bones. It lacks the smart, proactive features that make modern flagships feel truly magical.
And that bare-bones approach bleeds right into the camera performance. It's wildly ironic because Sony actually manufactures the very camera sensors that rival brands heavily rely on, but the image processing here just noticeably struggles. The source review points out that 12-megapixel selfies appear washed out and lack color richness. Night shots just fail to impress compared to the computational wizardry we see from competitors. Oh, and during intense use, the reviewer noted noticeable thermal throttling. Yep, the phone gets hot.
The reviewer hit the nail on the head with this quote: "That flagship flavor feels missing in this phone." It has the premium price, it's got the IP68 water and dust durability rating, but when you're paying top dollar, you expect the software to seamlessly elevate the hardware. Instead, the magic of a modern flagship just isn't fully realized. The software doesn't rescue the photos, and the phone just doesn't anticipate your needs.
Which brings us to Section 6. Is it worth the price?
Potential buyers are forced into a really tough trade-off here. On one side, you have unmatched, fan-favorite nostalgic hardware, a grippy design, an actual shutter button, a clean display with 0 notches, and a real headphone jack. For a specific type of tech enthusiast, it's an absolute dream. But on the flip side, you're hit with the processing reality, bare-bones software, thermal issues, and lagging computational photography. You're trading away the effortless AI features that have come to define the modern smartphone era. So it leaves us with this final provocative thought. In an era where computational software and AI literally define the smartphone experience, is a pure hardware-first approach enough to justify a premium price tag? Can physical buttons and an uninterrupted screen outweigh the convenience of flawless point-and-shoot camera processing? It's a massive dilemma. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hopefully this breakdown helps you figure out exactly where you stand on this unique hardware heavyweight.